15, 1 through 8. I am a true vine. I am the true vine, and my Father is the vineyard keeper. He removes any of my branches that don't produce fruit, and he trims any branch that produces fruit so that it will produce even more fruit. You are already trimmed because of the word I have spoken to you. Remain in me, and I will remain in you. A branch can't produce fruit by itself, but must remain in the vine. Likewise, you can't produce fruit unless you remain in me. I am the vine, you are the branches. If you remain in me and I in you, then you will produce much fruit. Without me, you cannot do anything. If you don't remain in me, you will be like a branch that is thrown out and dries up. Those branches are gathered up, thrown into a fire, and burned. If you remain in me and my words remain in you, ask for whatever you want, and it will be done for you. My Father is glorified when you produce much fruit, and in this way prove that you are my disciple. The word of God for the people of God.
Thanks be to God. I remember when I was 6 years old, we didn't have kindergarten. I went to first grade, my first day of school. 6 years old, and my mom took me there. Remember this? Mom takes you anywhere, your hand goes up. Took me to first grade class, and I was scared because I didn't know what would happen. Going to this strange place with these strange people and these strange other kids, and I walked in, and there was Doug Stewart, Ricky Childs, my class, my Sunday school class. It was just, of course it was. We lived in that town of 1,000 people. Of course it was the same kids. And soon we were on the floor playing with Tinker Toys while the moms were sitting in the little tiny desk chairs listening to Miss Breeze tell them about what to expect. And Sunday school paved the way. Sunday school, did anybody remember flannel graph? Do you remember flannel? Yes, a few of you. You bet. For those who are too young, flannel graph was like a video, except the teacher put these pictures up on the board and told the story. It had pictures of Jesus and Moses and all of the characters of the Bible and sheep and everything. And would tell the story, and these would go up on the board to help us see the story. And we always had the parables. And one of the parables that we often got into was, I am the vine, you are the branches. And so we get out the construction paper and the white glue, and there's always some guy who would eat the white glue. And we all go, ooh, yuck. And we get the construction paper and then the crayons, and we'd make up our branches with the leaves and the grapes and our name on them. And then the teacher would have us put them up on the bulletin board where she had put the Jesus trunk. You remember that? And we learned that we had to be connected to Jesus. We each had our own colors and our own special gifts, but we were connected because I am the vine, you are the branches. And it was an important lesson. It was an important lesson because we were getting our first toolbox. You know, we learn from, as children, we get a little tiny plastic toolbox, has a plastic saw and a plastic hammer, and we can pretend all day long to be sawing, but we're not going to cut anything. We're going to hammer, but only the plastic nails into the plastic workbench. The toolbox. We learn about how it works. Well, the same is true in Sunday school. The stories we learn how it works in a child's version. Then we get older. At some point, we get a better toolbox. And then we get into high school, and Jesus says, I am the vine, you are the branches, and if you separate yourself from me, you will die. All right? It's a little tougher because kids in junior high and high school start to deal with that issue of death and doing what's right and getting in trouble and God as the authority. It's like their toolbox now has a real tack hammer. You can really tap the nails in, and a real coping saw. Now, some people don't get past that simple level. Now, I shouldn't say simple. It's just the way it is. They start to go, they go to college, they go to high school or college, and they start to see that the world was not created in 7 days, and they start asking questions about where did Cain get a wife, and what is this about Jesus being resurrected? And they look at the toolbox they got as kids, and they say, it's not there. It's just a bunch of bunk, and they throw it out, and they head off on their own story. And they miss out on the next steps and the next stage. Because the I am a vine, you are the branches is not a parable. It's a metaphor. It's talking about something that we don't have words for. It's hard to wrap our heads around this because vines never have branches. Even that trunk, they never have a trunk, I should say. There's no Jesus trunk. Vines start with a branch. And the branch is branched. But they're all branches. If there were no branches, there would be no vine. So Jesus is saying, I am the vine. And this is not to be taken literally in any way, shape, or form. This is not even the Jesus trunk in which you pin your branches. This is a truth about who Christ is. Remember back in Moses' day when he was talking with the burning bush. And he asked him, what is your name? When the elders of the Hebrews asked me what your name is, what do I tell them? And God said, you tell them, I am. I can just see what would happen then. The elders would say, okay, who is your God, Moses? And he says, I am. And they go, no, you're not God. What is your God? I am. Be very confusing. So what God did say is, I am that I am. And then in John's Gospel, Jesus gives us 7 different I am statements to help us understand what we're saying when we say God is I am. There are, let's run through those. I am the bread of life, the light of the world, the door of the sheep, the good shepherd, the resurrection and the life, the way, the truth, and the life, and the true vine. The true vine. Now, if there's no Jesus trunk, how is Jesus the true vine? Jesus is that vineness that holds the grapevine together. I mean, we all should tell the difference. Lay them out on a table. We have an oak branch, a palm branch, a pine branch, and a grapevine branch. Now, which one is which? Well, the one is the grapevine, and it's because it has this vineness in it. There's a sap, or the DNA, or whatever you want to say, but it's this strange reality that a vine knows how to be a vine, but it needs branches in order to be a vine. This is an odd thought. If there were no branches, there would be no vine. If there were no people following Christ, there would be no resurrected body of Christ that we know of as the church. Christ needs us to manifest the vine. We are the branches. The other way around, if there was no vine, our being branches would be a loss. No future. This is not about us. This is about what the Father is doing to us. Jesus said, the Father is the vine keeper. This is not about whether or not you separate from the vine, though there are branches that will. In real life, branches will get disease, they will get something going on, and they will lose their connection, and they will wither and die, even on the vine. But this is not about branches separating themselves. This is about the Father being the vine tender, the one who shapes the vine and raises the vine. You know, in a vineyard in February, they go out and they start the process of preparing, dressing the vines. They cut them back. They make sure there's just branches necessary at hand height to be picked, not too many, because you want just enough vine for the coming year. Then as they start to grow a canopy. All of these leaves, and for the vine, leaves are good because that's where you get your nourishment. The more leaves, the better. But they aren't what the vine keeper needs. The vine keeper has to trim away the leaves, the canopy, because the vine will spend too much energy on getting more of all the good stuff and not on the purpose of the vine. Sounds like us too, right? We get out there and we learn things and we get really good at what we do and we want more and more and more of the good stuff, but we forget about the reason for our lives. The reason is the wine. I read that if you were to drink a glass of wine, it tasted like oniony. It means that it means that there was too much canopy. Because when the energy is being used for the leaves, it's not being used to make the grapes. And the grapes need that energy to be sugar to become good wine. The other thing that I found out that is really odd is that there's a time in the life of the vine when they actually have to stop watering it. They have to lower the ground moisture to the point where the vine is going, oh my God, it's a drought, I'm going to die, give all the sugar to my seeds. Because next year I will survive that way. And so the energy goes away from the leaves, away from the branches, it goes directly to the grapes and makes them sweet. These are terrible things from the vine's point of view. You're getting branches cut off. You're getting leaves cut off. You're losing your water. You're going to starve. You're going to die. But it's all because the vine tender is making the fruit of the vine. That's the point. And the same is true for us. We have bad things happen. We get our branches cut off. We thought we were going off in a good direction. All of a sudden, bam! It's gone. Or we're doing really great in our lives, and our canopy is just growing like crazy, and we're getting all that sunshine, all that stuff. And then, clip, we lose it. We feel terrible, and we ask, how could God do that to us? And then we hit a tough time when evil seems to be taking over everything around us and all the problems of the world, and we are dying of thirst and hunger for righteousness. And we think God has left us. But in fact, God has been there all along, because the purpose of your life is the fruit. The purpose. The whole reason you're here. Love, joy, peace, patience, kindness, goodness, faithfulness, gentleness, and self-control. Let's say them all together. Some of you know these by heart. Love, joy, peace, patience, kindness, goodness, faithfulness, gentleness, and self-control. You know these all work. You know it. As Paul said, there's no law against any of these. These are the ways that we come into contact with each other and with God and with ourselves, and we live full and holy lives. It's not about which hymns you sing or how often you genuflect or which books you read. It's about your love, your joy, your peace, your kindness, goodness, faithfulness, gentleness, and self-control. These are the fruit of the vine. And God helps us to make a rich, sweet, tasty fruit for God's glory and for the goodness of the world in His name.